Hi guys, today we're going to talk about beans and all of my favorite varieties to grow, especially in a hot climate. It's about that time to start planting beans or seed starting beans. I like to direct sow them, but I also like to seed start them in cups or in soil blocks. Either works perfectly fine. They transplant fairly well. One thing you want to keep in mind though before you plant your beans is you want to make sure it's not too cool out and it's not wet, because beans do not like the combination of wet and cold unless you're planting specific pole beans. There are varieties that can handle cooler temps in the beginning and then thrive in hotter temps. And then there's other varieties that don't do well in cooler temps, especially when the soil's really moist. We're going to talk about all of these, and hopefully you'll find some beans in this stash that'll do well in your growing zone. I love growing pole beans, and Kentucky Wonder is a really popular pole bean. However, it does like warmer temperatures, so keep that in mind when you're planting. And also, it doesn't like waterlogged soil, so pick a day where the soil is dry. You don't want to plant these on a day when it's been raining for several days at a time. Like most pole beans, the Kentucky Wonder will continue to produce until the first frost, and the beans will get to about 9 inches long. When they're picked young, they won't have a string, but as they mature, they do develop a string. Another popular pole bean is the Blue Lake FM1K pole bean, and it is a green bean. It's stringless. It's really known for its flavor, its disease resistance, its reliability, and its high yields. It takes a few more days to mature, but like the Kentucky Wonder, it's not going to like waterlogged soil, and it does prefer warmer temperatures. Another one of our favorites is soybeans, and these are really going to want to be planted in warmer temperatures, so you want to make sure that your soil temp is at least at 60 degrees or higher. These will produce all their beans at one time, and then they'll die off, and then you can just replant them. They have a pretty quick turnaround time. I know this seed packet says 85 days, but I've had some grow just as quickly as 60 days. So it kind of just depends on your region, but you're going to have the best luck growing these in the summertime. Next up are the white half runner beans. I'm really not impressed with these beans. You have to really grow them either in early fall or really early spring because they like cooler temperatures. They don't like temps that are too much higher than 75 degrees, I've found, in order for them to thrive. So this is a better bean to grow in cooler climates. Henderson Lima beans are a really great medium-sized bean. They have excellent flavor. I can't recommend this bean enough, and they grow really well in hotter climates. Here in Texas, you can grow these in the springtime all through summer and into fall because we have those warmer temps. Up north, you may want to grow them in the summertime. Next up are Scarlet runner beans, and like the other half-white runner beans, these do like cooler temps as well, so I have to grow them in early spring or in early fall. They do not like the heat, so this is a great bean for those of you that want to grow them up north. You can eat the pods when they're really young like you would a green bean, or you can let them fully mature and just eat the beans, and they're really beautiful beans and they have a really great flavor. They're a really vigorous plant, getting up to 10 feet tall, and you can eat the beautiful scarlet flowers on the plant as well. Next up are yard-long beans or asparagus beans, and believe me when I tell you, these two are not the same. The Oriental yard-long beans are a really great, vigorous bean. They will produce until the first frost, and you will get tons and tons of really long beans that are up to 2 to 3 feet in length. Now, I personally like the Oriental asparagus bean because they have a black bean inside, and anytime you can get black beans in any of your beans, whether it's green beans or yard-long beans, they're going to do much better in high temps. But they can also handle early planting when it's still cool outside. So just keep that in mind when you're picking out beans. If they have a black bean inside, they're going to do much better than any other color bean. Again, these are going to give you a high yield of beans until the first frost, and they can grow over 10 feet tall, so you're going to need to trellis those. Next up is dragon's tongue beans, and these are a really, really great bean. They are a bush bean. They're beautiful, but they're so tasty. I would say they give you a fair yield of beans, and you can plant these early on in the season when it's still a little bit cool outside, and they will produce all season long. Christmas lima beans are just as beautiful, and you would grow these just as you would any other lima bean. They do well in warmer temps, so you would probably want to grow these in late spring through summer. Then there's my absolute favorite bean to grow, which is the Chinese red noodle bean. This is just like a yard-long bean, but it's a beautiful red purplish color, super abundant, produces all season long until the first frost, and they climb really, really high, probably up to about 10 feet tall, so you want to grow these on a trellis. The flavor is excellent. Once they're cooked, they're just a little bit more acidic than a green bean. I really just can't say enough good things about this variety of bean. It is by far my favorite and my most recommended bean. So give them a try. I promise you won't regret it. Next up is fava beans, and I know you've seen a lot of fava bean videos on my channel already, but I highly recommend these, especially if you're in a colder climate, because they can survive down to 10 degrees, and they really do. Mine were covered in snow and were completely unfazed throughout winter, and they sprouted up in cold temps, no problem. They also put off a ton of really fragrant flowers, and the bees and pollinators love them. Golden wax beans are always a really great choice. Again, these have a black bean inside, so they're going to do well planted early in the season, even if it's still cold, and they'll really take off in the warmth. Also, the Royal Burgundy is another favorite of mine. I grow every year. They're just really beautiful purple beans. They love the heat of summer, but they are going to need a little bit more feeding than any other bean. Both of these are bush beans, and they will produce all their beans at one time, so you can get one bulk harvest, and then the plant will die off. However, I believe you can find both of these in a pole bean as well. Alright guys, I hope I've encouraged you to try some new beans this year. These are definitely some of my favorites that I really enjoy growing. If you do give them a try, let me know on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're Milk and Honey Acreage. That's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.